Hello, Pastor Steve Waldron here today. We're going to look at how to properly mark a Bible. Now, when I say properly mark a Bible, people have their own systems and that type thing. Now, some people have a conviction and they won't write in the Bible. I've done that over the years. I've just been like, what a sacred word. I don't want to mark it up. But for, the past several years, I have been marking the Bible, not scratching anything out, but underlining it. There's something about underlining when you read, it helps you retain it. That's actually, like studies have been done in that. So, first of all, you have to remember that most Bible pages are very thin. If it's India paper, it's 20 GSM, grams per square millimeter or something, thickness, which is very thin. Bible paper would be above 20 GSM. All of it's very thin. So you'll need some highlighters that they make special highlighters just for Bibles that minimizes the bleed through. Because if you just go grab your regular old highlighter that you get and that you're marking up your school textbook, well, school textbooks are much thicker paper than Bible paper, and it's just going to bleed through, and you're going to highlight a verse and you're going to realize what's behind it was highlighted as well. So the first thing is you need to just Google search some good Bible highlighters. I remember G.T. Luscombe used to make some. There's some other companies out there that just make some great stuff as well. But just good Bible highlighters. Some are very particular about that. Then as far as marking with a pen, you need to make sure that it's a ballpoint pen, because if it's an ink-based pen like a felt tip pen, again, that bleeds through a lot. It is not good. You also, unless you have some system of your own, you need to make sure it's a fine point, not a bold point, because that's very difficult to, the Bible being such a 66 books put together, that, there's not a lot of room between each line. So to underline, you need to make sure it's a fine point and not a bold point. Now, bold point, excuse me. Now you also need to make sure on other levels that when you're writing in your Bible that you're using a pen that is of some quality. I used to use these 10 for 10 pens, the Bics that have the blue tops. You just pop them out. I was real bad about chewing on those tops anyhow. But what happens is that just smears all over the place. It's like it's a very uneven texture. And so again, it just smears when you use something very inexpensive many times. Not all the time, but many times. I use a particular one. I use a BP 3C1 from Zebra. The reason I use this particular pen, not only does it work fantastic, minimize bleed through and bleeding on the page, but when you fly, it does not leak. There's a big pen that's one of the best writing inexpensive pens. They cost about $2. They come in white with a gel down here. They write fantastic. And when you fly, they bleed everywhere. Something about the cabin pressure. So the Zebra does not bleed. And so it's just a great all-around pen, but there's other great all-around pens as well. But you just need to make sure that it's a ballpoint, not a felt tip pen. If you're going to highlight, you need to make sure that you're using special highlighters just for that. There's actually some crayon highlighters out there, but I've used them. I've never really fallen in love with them because sometimes the crayon breaks off and it just doesn't do. And right now, I personally don't highlight my Bible. Everything I do is underlining. Now, I have a system in my Bible as well where even my Cambridge Cambridge large print, which does not have wide margins, I'll still write references out here of other scriptures. And then I have a system too, like if something's for the oneness of God, I'll write a O beside it. If something's on the new birth, I'll put NB. If something's for prophecy, I'll put a P beside it. If it's concerning the Bible, I'll put an I for inspiration. You'll have markings as well. I do appreciate the Bibles that have blank pages up front and in the back, because they're great. If you're doing a subject study, then you can, every time you run across something for prophecy, you can just mark it in the front. Or inspiration, you can just write inspiration and write under that. So I hate to see people ruin a Bible that is God's holy word, first of all, and that they paid some money for, just because they weren't using correct materials. So how to highlight your Bible? Again, try to get either dry markers or markers that are specifically done for thin Bible pages. Can't just use any highlighting. Some people highlight different colors depending on different subjects. That's always a neat thing to do as well. And then on your pens, make sure that you're using pens that, again, aren't bleeding through to the other side, aren't smudging and smearing on the pages, and they have a thin tip for any underlining you want to do, starring you want to do, any writing you want to do. So the biggest thing, get in there, read that word, love that word. It's going to see us through. It's more powerful than anything going on in this world today. God bless you.